Omai Gold Mines, ticker OMG, is exploring a gold property of the same name in Guyana. So this is not any project, but what at one time in the past was the largest primary gold producer of South America. Omai Gold Mines is betting that there's still a lot of additional mine life left and already made a great start towards proving that assumption. We're talking to CEO Elaine Ellingham to find out more. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're lucky to reach you as you're in Guyana on site, or at least in a hotel near it. Before we start discussing the company and the project, please give us a bit of background on yourself and your team.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. I'm an exploration geologist originally, so I've been in the mining business for 40 years now. So obviously I moved into some senior corporate roles and a lot of board work. I've been on the board of about 14 exploration companies. So it is a business that I know well, and I'm very passionate about it. So so I basically I actually bought some shares in Omai when it went public in late 2020, about 18 months ago. And then they had some management changes, and Renaud Adams was put in as the chair. And Renaud and I had worked together at Richmont Mines through a discovery and through to a takeover, very successful near $1 billion takeover. And so he had asked me to join the board. I was delighted to join the board of Omai, and then ended up stepping in as the CEO. And it was, for me, a great exploration project and a very exciting opportunity for me.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. We'll talk about the project in a second, but for a lot of investors, or at least German investors, even if they're interested in mining or have been there, Guyana is not a location that is primarily associated with mining. Can you tell us a bit about the country as a mining jurisdiction and what it's like to work a mining project there?
Right. Yeah, I think Guyana maybe isn't known because it's a fairly small country. The population is only 700,000 people. Interestingly, it is in South America, but it's actually part of the Caribbean business community. It's the former British Guyana, so they're English speaking, and they have the sort of the legacy of British law. So it's actually very easy to work there. It has a long history in mining. In fact, gold goes back to the 1600s, but the real mining started maybe the early 1900s. For our project, it was actually in production for 12 years, 1993 to 2005, and at the time was the largest primary gold producer in South America. So there's also bauxite there and diamonds as well. So actually a long legacy of mining.
Okay, well, that sounds like a good jurisdiction to be, good place to be in. You said it, I said it, this is not any project, but as you said, has been in production and was one of the great producers. Can you tell us how you came to control this property now?
Right. Yeah. So it was a company called Unzen Gold. It's still around, and they ended up through an acquisition holding the project just as it had ceased operations. And they were working on a larger project in the next door in the country of Suriname, and so they decided to relinquish the project to the government. So the project was actually back in the hands of the government. Great for us because when it was relinquished, it was fully remediated. So, we're completely indemnified from any of the historical environmental issues relating to past mining. But a private company then acquired it from the Guyanese government, and we acquired that company through a reverse takeover in late 2020.
Okay. Well, that's late 2020. That's not so far off, especially if you think that we've been in the pandemic all the time. So please tell us what Omai Gold Mines achieved at the project so far. As far as I saw, the company already proved off the fairly substantial gold resource, and that's only part of it, though.
Right. Of course, working at a past producing mine, you already have a little bit of a leg up. So this property had two large past producing open pit mines, and they're both very close together. And so it had been known that there was mineralization that extended below those existing deposits that were mined. And so when we started drilling just in February last year, just barely over a year ago, we focused on drilling under one of the large deposits. And we, in fact, only drilled 16 holes, about 8,000 meters, and were able to prove up. It was a new deposit. We were drilling new material underneath and beside and along strike of the pit, but we were able to prove up 1.6 million ounces at a grade of 1.4 grams per ton. So that's a 43-101. It's actually a resource, so of course it's indicated and inferred, but that's a great start for us.
That's certainly true, and that's a great base or basis for further work now. And I already read that you're pretty busy. You have been busy already. So what are your plans for the rest of this year then? What would you like to achieve? Where's the potential, the further potential?
Right. So last year we had set the goal of trying to, get to the resource, our first resource by year end, which was, quite an achievement for a company in its first year. So we do know that resource, we already know that the mineralization continues along strike, at depth, and adjacent too. So one of the priorities this year is to try to expand that resource. 1.6 million ounces, it's a good start. We believe that 2 million ounces is certainly within the realm of possibility. So we'll do some drilling along strike. The benefits of drilling along strike is you're near surface. So again, the closer the mineralization is to surface, the easier and cheaper it is to extract. So that's a priority. Plus, what really attracted me to the project was there were some exploration, quite a few exploration targets identified in the 1990s. And you got to understand, this mine operated when the gold price was under $400 an ounce. So they weren't really going after new exploration targets. And so some of these targets have been sitting there since 1990, not tested. And obviously in the current gold price environment, they're pretty interesting. So we're now moving on to look at some of these exploration targets to look for new deposits right at surface in the immediate vicinity. So we have quite a few targets there to look at in addition to the big resource we're working on.
Okay, well, looks like there's a lot of work to do for you as an exploration geologist, and it sounds very interesting. We certainly check in at a later time to see how it goes and hear more about drill results and whatnot. But I would also like to know about the overall goal, because we talked about what's going to happen this year maybe. But what's the overall goal? Do you see yourself or the company going into production, or are you looking for a partner or to be taken out? I mean, that seems to happen regularly in the region, or at least lately. And of course, you have in Silvercorp Metals, you already have a large shareholder among others.
Right, and actually Guyana has become quite a hot region for exploration. There has been two significant takeovers of Guyanese project companies in the last few years, plus Barrick is very active in Guyana now. It's one of their priority areas. So I think our goal would be to continue to build the resources. So, we're at 1.6. We also have a historic resource under the other pit. And we want to bring that into 43-101 compliance. But with what we see, we believe we could build up a resource of probably 4 or 5 million ounces within the next 18 to 24 months. And that makes it a target for a mid-tier company. In either way, if we decided to move forward to develop it ourselves, our chairman is actually a very prominent mine developer. He's a CEO of New Gold, but he is well known as an exceptional mine developer. So we would obviously have to change up the management team. My team is mostly exploration focused, but that's an alternative. But I suspect will be very attractive in the future.
Okay, well, it sounds very good. With all that work, of course, comes cost. Can you please give us a short view of how much cash does Omai have on hand, and how far will it get you with what you've planned to do?
Right. Yeah, we have just under 3 million Canadian right now. So we have about a 3,000 to 5,000 meter drill program plan that we started about 3 weeks ago. That's why I'm down here in Guyana, to go down and see how the results are happening. And then we're also trenching. So really with that amount of money, our I would expect that will take us well through that 5,000 meters of drilling. So, into the late summer, and we're very optimistic that this next phase of drilling will also bring some fruitful results like our last work did.
Okay. Well, as I said, we'll be back to talk about that, hopefully. Then, just to summarize, what is the value proposition for Omai Gold Mines, and why is the company, in your personal opinion, worth having a closer look at now as opposed to later?
Right. Well, I think when the company came out of its RTO, it kind of had, well, maybe it was because of the pandemic, but it's had been kind of under the radar. And we do have some good institutions that have come in recently, and some interest, but really we didn't experience a lot of share price appreciation after the announcement of our resource, which was quite surprising. But as you know, the markets have been very turbulent. So I think it is a story, if you look at our valuation on dollars per ounce, we're looking at about $12 to $20 Canadian per ounce. Our market cap's about 26 million US. So, for a company with a nice brownfields project in a very mining friendly jurisdiction, with a nice resource at a good grade, I think a 26 million market cap is quite undervalued. So I think we do need to get the story out. And I think our priority was, getting our resource and getting things moving, and we're there now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Certainly sounds like you have a very interesting couple of next months before you, and longer term also. We'll see how the story develops in terms of being the target for a mid-tier or bigger company. Thank you very much for taking the time, and good luck in Guyana with the exploration. Thank you.
Thank you so much.